Bernadette from Crush This Debt, and today we're talking about a topic that I am obsessed with because a lot of you guys know that I really love HGTV and want everything to be really cool and perfect, but there's a lot of pitfalls to getting your place looking like you want it to. And here I have our friend Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
And he is from, he's starting his own company, WinRate Consulting, and he is here to help people make sure that they have the best practices to hire the right contractors for these really large-scale projects. From first-hand experience, Mike is awesome because he is the one who helped me with my kitchen renovation. We were just talking about this. Felt like it was just yesterday, but it was 4 years ago. So I'm really excited about you and this company.
Yep.
Tell me more about why you started WinRate.
Okay, so my background is in business development and communication. So I worked for corporate America for 10 years.
Oh, corporate America, love it.
Yeah. I mean, I ran its course. Like it had its upsides, it had its downsides, but overall I learned a lot in the process. So I left corporate America. Helped a buddy of mine, the general contractor that did your kitchen, phenomenal guy, was struggling to get his business off the ground from like a business development sales perspective. I knew nothing about construction, but said I'm kind of done with corporate America. I'd love to get into this entrepreneurial small business world. I love the construction industry, and the process fell in love with it. Like I really learned a lot about the client interaction, the process, the pitfalls, the good things, the bad things. And the general fear, like there's a lot of fear around it. Like there's never a renovation gone great TV show. It's renovation like nightmares, and it's like what can go wrong. And consumers are incredibly more informed now. They're incredibly more
and expectations.
Yeah. Well, and they know as much about the industry as you do now. Like because they can just Google it or and that wasn't the way 20 years ago. But so helped him with that for a number of reasons. Transitioned to a different company. Well, I kind of wrote my process start to finish. Appreciation. From appreciation to prospecting, everything in the middle. And I was like, well, this is kind of like a course. Like this can help people. Like this is pretty detailed. It wasn't just like what I did, it's why I did it and when I did it. And then April this year, kind of created an LLC, pulled the plug. So I'm still working at Daniel Enterprises, but I'm kind of getting WinRate up full speed now. Kind of got the website launched in August. Have had a couple clients. I've had really good success with that. I'm proud of this, but it's also kind of crazy. Like I've helped a handful of companies grow by 7 figures now, strictly by improving their communication process and their systems around client interaction, proactive communication, professionalism. Like my vision is to take fear out of the home remodel, and there's so much. It's on both sides. Contractors are afraid that you're going to be crazy. You're not going to pay the bills.
Which I am.
You're going to change your mind 17 times. And to be fair, homeowners. They have this vision because of HGTV, and 30 minutes and $17,000 later, you have a brand new kitchen. That's just not reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
which honestly is what I thought it was when I first started this process, and figured out very quickly.
Yeah, it's dirty. It's intrusive. It's challenging. There's good days. There's bad days. Like the project, your kitchen didn't go smooth every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were challenges, there were issues, there were decisions you didn't want to have to make that you did, but kind of the professionalism that I brought from outside the industry definitely differentiate us as a company.
Absolutely.
Compared to somebody else who was just like, oh, here's your quote, or yeah, I'll be there and didn't show up, or showed up and didn't send the quote.
Yep, which happened.
It's amazing that people would waste their time to come out and look at your house and not send you a quote.
What are some best practices that you can share with us about what to look for when we're looking for the contractor?
Yeah, so I actually had a friend of my brother's reach out to me and say, I'm about to go through this. What should I look for when I'm hiring somebody? This just happened.
So this is what he told his brother, so we know it's for real.
So the first one is ask for references. So, and I think 5 to 10.
Wow, 5 to 10?
5 to 10, because, and I would say call all of them,
yeah.
But what you're really trying to go through the exercise is if they can't find 10 people from the last year that's willing to give them a good reference, that's probably not somebody you want to work with. And any successful contractor, they've had more than 10 projects this year or in the last 12 months. If they haven't had 10 projects in the last 12 months, and sometimes the price point can vary from that. Like if your average project's $500,000, you may not do 20 in a year. But the average kitchen, $50,000 to $100,000, like the average good contractor is probably doing 20 to 30 of those a year. If you ask them for 10 references and they cannot supply that, to me that's a red flag. Like I could probably pull up my phone right now and find 10 clients from the last month that I could call that would say we had a pretty good experience. So if you can't get 5 to 10, as many as possible. Like don't ask for 100, but if they can't supply 10 clients that are willing to say something good about them, that's a red flag.
That's a really good point, and I did not do that, but it ended up working well.
It worked out well, but ultimately, like that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a big thing because a lot of people have gotten really good at outselling their poor performance. They sell the dream. They say the keywords. They tell you what you want to hear. But then like they're subbing that work to somebody else, and they don't always take ownership, and it ends up poorly because they sold you on a dream to get your money.
Yep.
And then the project's going to be the project.
Yeah.
And you're kind of locked in. Like once you pay the money, very few people are going to walk away from a 25% deposit because they got bad feelings about it. Like you're kind of like into it now.
Yeah.
So doing that due diligence ahead of time is very important.
Good point.
The second thing I would recommend doing in any type of complex remodel is to either hire somebody or walk through it with the first contractor that you feel comfortable with, a full scope of work. And what I mean by that is like the details, like how many of each thing is happening, how many square feet's happening, what's happening here, what's happening there. Having that defined scope of work allows you to get an apples to apples comparison. That's something that you can do ahead of time, either at home by yourself, even in layman's terms, like kitchen remodel. Okay, I know I want cabinets, I know I want countertop, I know I want switches here, I want lights here. Write it out in detail so that, because if you're going to meet with 3 or 4 different people, which is realistic, you want to have them quoting the same scope of work, because nothing is worse from both sides than were not clear on scope. You had 4 people quote it. You're going to drop the lowest one. You're probably going to drop the highest one. The 2 in the middle are going to be close enough. You're going to flip a coin, right? And then one of them is going to have a detailed proposal and one's not. One's going to say kitchen remodel, $55,000. The other person is going to be detailed
Which I saw.
Right, yeah, and I was very good about trying to be very like, it's very quantity driven, square foot, unit pricing, so that you can say, hey, well, you charged me for 7 switches, we only did 6, let's correct that. Or, hey, there's a change order from the contractor side, and you're like, yeah, but you gave me a whole number for $55,000. How was I supposed to know what was set and what wasn't? When you do, like with allowances or really detailed out by unit, you can say, okay, well, I asked, you priced for 800 square feet of flooring. It's actually 900. You deserve to be paid more for that, right? But if it wasn't defined, it was just like replace flooring for $1,500.
Yeah.
Who knew how much?
Good point. And that happened for sure with, when we were looking at doing our renovation, we were looking at replacing the floor, but what we didn't realize, or what AJ and I didn't think about, was that if we were replacing the floor in our kitchen, like it connected to our dining room, and so we had to sand everything to make it look like it matched. Didn't even think that was a thing. And then you start thinking about, okay, well, how do you compensate for that one way or the other? And so making sure that is all documented and that you have that ahead of time is so important.
So once you selected a contractor, understand the schedule.
Okay, so that's really important because everyone talks about the money piece of this, but there's also the time and the time value of money, which we talk a lot about. So let's talk about the schedule.
So the schedule. So this is very important. Understanding certain stepping stones, and a great way to manage that is to have the draw schedule related to it. So typically, like, do not give your contractor 50% up front. Don't do that. No contractor needs 50% up front. If they're demanding it, that's because they're having other cash flow issues. I've been on that side of it. 50%, 25% is common. That's a good number. And then set stopping points, like that everybody can agree this is done. Like one for us is always when the countertop goes in. No one can disagree on if the countertop's in or not.
It's either there or it's not.
Right. So that's a good still, but that holds the contractor accountable to the schedule because they don't get paid till they hit certain stopping points, and it keeps you in control a little bit, saying, hey, this isn't going as fast as I'd like, so you're not getting paid because we haven't hit these stepping stones. It protects you as the client. It keeps them on schedule. And then having it notated somewhere, like an on-site, this is something we did not do, but something I kind of learned after our project that works really well, is like an on-site like project management book. And what's in there is like selections you've made for fixtures, the budget,
Ooh, I like
the
this
schedule,
idea,
having that on site so that like, and then having part of that be like the first page is like a comment notes page. Something that you can write in as the homeowner that says, I don't like this, I like this, can we look at this? Because I know you want to get home at 7 o'clock at night and start calling your contractor. Don't do that. Like the contractor has a life and a family too, and getting text messages at 9:30 at night because of a fixture location, that can be something that can be handled the next day. So that's a one-stop shop for all details that subs can look at, contractor can look at, homeowner can look at. but then holds everybody accountable.
Oh my gosh, I love this. These are tips that are so useful that as I think about my future bathroom renovation,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have that book. And I also like making binders, so I mean, mine's gonna be like really pretty with like stickers and all this other stuff.
But even you underestimate the amount of decisions that go into a kitchen remodel.
Absolutely.
Right? So many. There's so many.
So I mean, like even little things when they were like, "What color grout do you want for the tile?" Like I was like, I didn't realize there were multiple grout colors. You know, they're like light gray or dark gray, and I was like, I guess I don't know. So you know, thinking about those things and making sure you're writing them down and making sure you're on the same page about that is a really good tip.
Yep.
So my last question for you on this is, a lot of people who are listening are looking to crush their debt. So they might be on this debt-free journey, either getting ready to do a renovation or might be trying to plan for one ahead of time. What are some tips that you can give to someone who's on a debt-free journey to plan for a renovation like this?
So some things I'll say contractors are going to like. Some things I'm going to say contractors are not going to like. So one of the biggest costs of a renovation are the finishes, the fixtures. If you're planning ahead and you're an organized person, buying things up front or early, like lighting fixtures, plumbing fixtures, flooring material, things that you can buy and store yourself ahead of time, do that. Because that's going to save you 20 to 25% on those products kind of immediately. Like, contractors mark that stuff up. It's typically part of the agreement, like the allowances around fixtures and finishes. It's going to get marked up in the interim. And you can find deals on your own. Like, you can do the Wayfairs and the Amazons.
Actually, I did that. So for our kitchen, we found this tile that everyone gives us compliments on, but we got it ourselves and it was on clearance. And so when we were like, oh, no one's going to have this anymore because they're not selling it at the store, but we got it. It was originally like $20 per square, and we got it for 10, and we saved a ton of money.
Yeah, and like, let's be honest here. The contractor has a lot of things going on. Discount shopping for you is not one of them.
Not on
like
the list.
it's just not. Like we're not going out going, oh, but we can find the cheaper across town. Let me drive across town to get it. That's just not going to happen. Yeah. Unless you're hiring like an interior designer where part of your agreement is their discount shopping for you, it's not going to happen. So you doing that yourself, and that can add up really big, specifically with large scale stuff like tile, flooring, even plumbing and light fixtures. Like, we've had clients buy $5,000 bathtubs. And like, if we'd have marked it up 25%, that's a big number, right? Like, that's a lot of money. Like, even if you have a big budget, saving 10% on a $100,000 remodel, that's a lot of money.
That's $10,000.
That's $10,000, right?
The math.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, but like little things like that, what you can do ahead of time. The other thing is definitely managing the schedule, because it's really easy to like let things drag on, and then like maybe you're doing a kitchen remodel. Well, if that kitchen remodel lasts an extra 3 weeks, that's 3 more weeks of you eating out. That's 3 more weeks of you ordering food. Yeah. That's 3 more, like if you're doing a big, like, let's say full house remodel, maybe you moved out. Maybe you moved it out.
Hotel expenses.
Your hotel expenses. Like, a week can be a lot of money when you're not in your routine.
And I think that's so true, because we did a kitchen renovation and I was working from home at the time. So, you know, when
you had this little like hot plate and like toaster oven.
Yeah, I had a little toaster oven, and you know, I like eating in, so I'm good with that. But you know, if you keep having to, there was a point where I couldn't be here because it was just so noisy. I couldn't take phone calls, so I had to go out to eat, and it started adding up.
Yep. So, especially if you have a family, like you have throw a couple kids in there.
Game over.
Yeah, you just quadrupled your expenditure, like going out to eat.
Yeah.
So,
and that's something that people don't really factor in.
It is
when they're doing
definitely
a
gray area expense that you don't think about. Yeah.
Oh my God, this has been so awesome. I already feel like I've learned so much, even though I've done one before, but I'm always looking to renovate something else, so I will use it. So how can people find you?
WinRate Consulting's at WinRate Consulting, WINRATE Consulting. WinRateConsulting.com is my website. That's a lot of good information, a lot of videos, just a lot of my background and kind of what I'm trying to do to help the industry. So that'd be a great place to start.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time with me.
Absolutely.
And actually, you might see Mike again, because we're going to do another episode about his own debt-free journey, and we'll talk about that. So thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.